Once upon a time, in a quiet coastal town where fishing boats dotted the harbor and the sea whispered secrets to the shore, there lived a young fisherman named Caleb. He was known for his quick temper and even quicker tongue. Whenever someone crossed him, whether it was a neighbor borrowing his net without asking or a fellow fisherman teasing him about a bad catch, Caleb would explode with words. He argued loudly, defended every point, and never let anyone have the last say. People avoided arguments with him not because he was right, but because arguing with him felt like shouting into a storm. One autumn evening, a fierce nor'easter rolled in from the Atlantic. Dark clouds swallowed the sky and the waves grew angry and tall. Most boats stayed tied to the docks, but Caleb, stubborn as ever, insisted on going out. "I've fished in worse," he boasted to his worried wife Emma. "The fish don't stop for weather, and neither do I." As night fell, the storm hit full force. Caleb's small boat was tossed like a toy. Rain blinded him, wind tore at the sails, and a massive wave flipped the boat sideways. He clung to the hull, half submerged, fighting for every breath. In the chaos, he spotted a distant light, a lighthouse on the rocky point, barely visible through the sheets of rain. If he could reach the rocks near it, he might climb to safety. Exhausted and freezing, Caleb washed up on the jagged shore below the lighthouse. He dragged himself onto the wet stones, coughing seawater, his hands bleeding from the sharp barnacles. Above him stood the old lighthouse keeper, Mr. Harlan, a man in his 70s who rarely spoke to anyone. Harlan had seen the boat capsize from his tower and had already called for help, but the Coast Guard boats were delayed by the storm. Harlan lowered a rope and pulled Caleb up the steep cliff to the lighthouse door. Inside, a warm fire crackled. Harlan wrapped Caleb in blankets, gave him hot coffee, and sat silently across from him. For a long time, neither man spoke. The wind howled outside, rattling the windows. Finally, Caleb, still shaking, broke the silence. I should have listened. Everyone told me not to go out, but I had to prove I was right. I always have to be right. Look where it got me." Harlan nodded once, saying nothing. Caleb kept talking, the words pouring out like the rain outside. "I argue with Emma about everything. Money, the kids, even how to tie a knot. I argue with my crew, with the shopkeepers, with strangers. I thought winning every argument made me strong. But tonight I almost lost everything because I wouldn't shut up and listen." Harlan sipped his coffee, eyes steady on the fire. Caleb's voice cracked. "You didn't say a word when you pulled me up. You just acted. No lectures, no I told you so. You saved my life without needing to prove anything." Harlan finally spoke, his voice low and calm. "Words can be loud, son, but silence can save you. When the storm is screaming, the wise man listens more than he shouts. When your pride is loud, your ears go quiet, and that's when you miss the warning waves, the shifting wind, the hand reaching out to help." Caleb stared at the old man. "You've seen a lot of storms from up here. More than most," Harlan said, "and I've learned this. Arguing with the sea never changes its mind. Arguing with life rarely does either. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is stay silent. Listen and let the moment teach you." Caleb thought about all the fights he'd started, all the bridges he'd burned with sharp words. He thought about Emma waiting at home, probably terrified. For the first time in years, he felt no urge to defend himself or explain. He just sat in the quiet, letting the fire warm him and the old keeper's words sink in. The next morning, the storm passed. The Coast Guard arrived and Caleb returned home. Emma ran to him, tears in her eyes. Instead of launching into excuses or stories of his bravery, Caleb simply held her and whispered, "I'm sorry, I'm home now." From that day on, Caleb changed. He still spoke his mind when it mattered, but he learned the power of pausing. When arguments rose, he often chose silence, listening first, responding only when words could build instead of break. He mended relationships he'd once damaged. He became the man people turned to in tough times, not because he was the loudest, but because he was the calmest. Years later, when young fishermen asked him for advice, Caleb would smile and say, "The sea doesn't care how much you yell. It only answers those who listen, and life is the same. Sometimes silence isn't weakness, it's survival." Friends, this story reminds us that not every battle needs words. In a world full of noise, arguments, opinions, defenses, there is deep strength in knowing when to be quiet. Silence can save relationships, prevent mistakes, and open your ears to the lessons life is trying to teach. It doesn't mean you stop standing up for what's right. It means you choose your moments wisely. The next time anger or pride rises in you, take a breath. Listen, let silence be your first response. You might be surprised how much it protects what truly matters. If this tale reminded you to pause before speaking, please give this video a like and share it with someone who might need the reminder. I'll see you soon with another story to help us live wiser and calmer. Until then, speak less, listen more, stay grateful, and keep moving forward. See you next time.